Tanner Woodrum. You're an expert in AI-powered automations, a college dropout. I'm a high school dropout, by the way. A college dropout turned entrepreneur who automates business operations. What are some misconceptions people first have about creating automations?
Number one, they think that they can put automation on some process that doesn't even exist yet. Typically, people are like, "Oh man, I want to do." We have this idea of this thing that hasn't been built yet in our industry. If we build it, then it can be, we'll be ahead of the game. I'm like, that's great. Have you done it yourself? And they're like, no, but we can just automate it. Like the AI these days can do anything. Like, It can do a lot, but it's like putting lipstick on a pig. Because if you just throw AI or automation at it, it's not going to do very well. So a lot of times people think, you can program or you can build. It's like, yes, I can. I can build anything that you at least understand enough to explain it to me. A lot of times people, they think that they can improve their business or automate their business or put AI into their business just because it can be done. A lot of times I just tell people, you know what, you should probably do this yourself manually. Honestly, it's not what you want to hear, but you need to define what the SOP is or what the workflow is. You got to define it on pen and paper or bring in somebody who is already doing it. Then we can have a conversation of, okay, how are we going to automate this? Because automation doesn't only stem on what it can do, but also how you store the information to get from point A to point B. So a lot of it actually has to do with data architecture, data analytics, to be able to say, it's like, yeah, I want to automate this CRM flow, but it's okay. Well, even something as simple as that, you have to figure out how we're going to store the data in between. Where's it going to go? Do we want to manipulate it? Do we want to enrich it? And then where's it going to go on the backside? So I would say that's definitely, that was the first thing that came to mind. I don't know if that's number one, but that's one that I often get is you have to understand a process before you can automate it. I put this all the time on my LinkedIn. It's like you can't automate a process that you're not already doing. So first do it, understand the pain, and then come back. Because we can try building it from scratch. I promise you it's going to be more expensive, it's going to take longer, and it's end up not being exactly what you want. So do the process, feel the pain, then automate is what I would say is one of the biggest misconceptions of how to implement automation and how to kind of get started on that.
And for those who are just being introduced to you through this episode, who don't already know what you do, what would you say that you are an entrepreneur, but what is your business? What do you provide?
Yeah, so I teach and build AI automation. That's my one-liner, right? So AI automation, I come from background of software engineering, so I build full stack applications, meaning I build your front end, what the customer sees, I build your back end, the business logic, I design and architect the database, so how your data is stored, the security of the whole thing from front end to back end. I do cloud service providing, meaning I can build in the cloud, I can host your product, and then recently I've added to the AI train where obviously you can implement anything with software to include AI nowadays, right? But definitely AI and then AI automation specifically, because even if you think just of like an app, that's technically an automation at its core. You're streamlining the process of how people consume and interact with data. And so that's when I say AI automation, it's like it's really just automation at the core of everything, and you put AI into it. It's just adding that layer of complexity that allows you to give better user experience to the end users or to your internal team. So that's what I do. I build, and then I do a lot of coaching. I coach executives. I coach other entrepreneurs. I coach people who want to get into my space. So a lot of it is teaching people how to do what I did and what I do, and also teaching people to know what they don't know when it comes to AI and the modern tools that are consuming it.
So how did you get turned on to AI? I know several software engineers, friends, family, coworkers. Not everyone is deep into AI in the way that it seems like you are. A lot of engineers that I know are still stuck in like the traditional, just like manually coding, and then maybe having Claude Code or Gemini, review some of the code, but they're not like vibe coding or really like utilizing AI very, very strongly, it seems like. So how did you get turned on to AI in this way?
Yeah. As an agency owner, I was alone. I didn't have any team members, I didn't have anybody I could rely on. And so AI was a really big thing for me, because if I could teach or train an AI to program like I program, then it would allow me to do a lot more, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
So it started out with playing around with tools. I specifically use Cursor. I feel like it has a really nice interface. It's kind of been a leading it was one of the early champions of vibe coding before even Cloud Code came out, right?
Mm.
And so I kind of adopted it, took it, and then I was able to use my experience of software engineering to prompt this AI to do exactly what I want to do, but infinitely quicker, right? Mm-hmm. So taking something that took me an hour to program, take somebody who doesn't know what they're doing 6 hours to program, so it'd take me an hour, then it'd take it 10 minutes, right, to build it out. And so the immediate reason was definitely by necessity. Mm-hmm. I was bringing on too many clients to be able to feasibly do myself, and instead of hiring out or having to train somebody else to use the very tool that I was going to use, I just use it myself. And then, so that's where I was introduced with AI, and I wasn't partial to the fact that I have to keep programming because AI can't program. Like, I agree that software engineering will never die, because mm-hmm. if you think about what an engineer is, engineers simply know how to orchestrate and use tools to accomplish or to fix a pain, to accomplish a goal or to fix a pain. And so the way that I really helped what I differentiated in my brain was like, look, no longer are there software developers, because AI can develop faster than anybody and more accurately and more reliably. So but software engineers will never die, because the tools may change. I mean, back in the 90s, they were using archaic languages to develop the web, right? That didn't kill libraries or books. The web was just an added tool. Mm-hmm. And then as these other tools came out, it didn't kill anything. It streamlined a lot of processes. And so that's how I was introduced. It was out of necessity, just to be able to make myself more efficient and to be able to take on more bandwidth, right? Or to increase my bandwidth through tools that are available. And then I came across NAN as kind of the grand orchestrator of AI products, regular APIs or regular tools that are available, integrations with all the commonly used systems, etc. And that's where I really started realizing, holy smokes, like, not only do I not need to be programming every day, but I can also be doing more like micro projects mm-hmm. that aren't so massive. Like, because every application or every app build, it's always big. Mm-hmm. They want SaaS, they want to, paid tiers and all these different things. And it was just, as a consultant, it's a lot of work. It's a feast and famine, right? So there's a lot of work to get somebody. I get them, and then it would take a long time to build it to be able to like kind of finish it off. And so I needed kind of a shorter term cash flow solution, and just I needed a better tool, because I was still just programming these automations, and then you have to deploy it. It's not very easy distributable. But with NAN came this distribution and accessibility that was unrivaled, and still is unrivaled to the day with any other project on the market. So mm-hmm. yeah, so I would say out of necessity, and then also curiosity of like, look, I'm not gonna try saying my job's super secure. I'm gonna go and kind of go where the puck's going rather than chasing it, is kind of the mentality of how I adopted it.
Yeah, well, I want to take a step back for just a second. And so walk me through the timeline of first getting turned on to AI, like getting interested in, hey, I have too many clients. Good problem to have, by the way. Good job. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've brought on too many clients. I can't really service them all by myself. As a solopreneur, I either hire or use better tools. And it seems mm-hmm. like you went with better tools. Mm-hmm. So from that moment to then discovering NAN and then to today, like, what's the timeline of all of that?
Yeah, so discovering the tools was, what are we in 2026? End of 2024, kind of mid 2024. Mm-hmm. I discovered those tools and started kind of implementing and using them, and that kind of accelerated my ability to do what I was doing. And then it was the beginning of 2025. So beginning last year is whenever I was introduced to NAN. really was kind of only playing with it, using it, didn't have really much of a use case for it yet, but it was like mid 2025, around June, July, is when I landed my first NA and automation client, and that kind of exploded, right? Kind of exploded from there. And that's where my agency really blew up. Was really from June of last year all the way till today. It's grown. I mean, if we look at a simple metric as of like LinkedIn followers, right? So I mean, beginning 2025, wasn't on LinkedIn, wasn't anything, had like 400 connections. All of them were from BYU.
Right, like former classmates, professors.
Literally, so not them, but the worth of that network was zero, like worthless, right? Might as well have it at zero. But then, in that's about, because then I started getting consistent in about February, but June, I went from about 500 followers till today I have almost 3.5 thousand, right? So 3,500. And again, that's not the metric I'm kind of trying to show is with the adoption of that NAN tool came me being able to actually build applicable, automations, and that grew interest in people. It grew my clientele. It grew my reach. And so from 2024, only building a feast and famine like cycle of, picking up a client here or there, bringing on a couple from basically referrals, to today, my entire business is run off of inbound from LinkedIn. So don't do any outbound, don't do anything like that, besides the DMs in LinkedIn that come in. But so from 2024, mid 2024 to today, so it's been about 2 years ish on the whole kind of life cycle of it all.
How does that make you feel, realizing like I've gone from a value of essentially zero, and like you said, it's not like those people are not worth anything, but as connections, I used to be in financial advising right out of college. All the people I knew were poor. Like they were good people. I'm not saying they weren't worth anything, but as a financial advising client, they had no money to manage.
No, exactly.
So how does that make you feel, going from essentially a value of zero within your network, a business value of next to nothing in the feast or famine days, to now like you don't do any outbound where others are still struggling? Your account on LinkedIn is growing. We were talking just before we started recording. You're making connections with people who are like within N8N, the organization, other users of the tool, and really like becoming an authority figure. Like, how do you feel about the past year?
I feel humbled, honestly. I'm a big believer in God, and I know that everything that I've been given has been given because of Him, and honestly because of my family. My personal opinion, I think wealth comes in a variety of ways. The way that came for me was because I was choosing to put my family first, and almost like a necessity, like, hey, I need to provide for my family. We chosen a lifestyle where, I'm the only provider in our family, and my wife will stay home and provide for our kids and work a 24/7 job that nobody could ever match, And so with that being the case, it came of like, okay, I need this to work. And so seeing God's hand is what I see, is like taking something that was nothing, right, and really turning it into, like I said, like I'm connected with David Ashby, who's this awesome top NAN creator. We talk almost daily, weekly. I've even connected with one of the head, flogrammers they're called flogrammers on NAN. His name is Max. I can't say his last name because he's Ukrainian, but the prominent figure, we chat every now and then. I always joke with my community, but even the CEO of NAN has laughed at or reacted to some of my posts.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, I saw that.
And so it's like coming from like nothing to, like you said, kind of being this, having this position to be a figure of knowledge in the space has been honestly super humbling. Just like, wow, never would I have ever thought that I would get to this point. And I would say it's also humbling, but it's also exciting, because I love giving information to people to help them, right? That's honestly my true passion. I love building things. I think it's really cool. My true passion is coaching. I say this to LinkedIn. I put it out there all the time. Like, I tell my wife, if I had a dream job, my dream job would be a high school football coach. Like the day that I retire, I would want to go coach, because I played football in high school, and I want to go coach. I want to go help young men, people. One of the things that I love doing is taking something that people otherwise would have thought was insignificant or worthless and turning it into worth. That's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like a personal beacon that I love doing. And I kind of did that with myself. I've never been big on social media ever. Like through high school, never had a big Twitter, never had a big Instagram, nothing big. Like I was never on social media. And so the idea was kind of daunting to me. I was like I've never done this before. Like, what am I going to do? And so from coming from that to now just, growing and building what I have around me, it's really just humbling and really cool. It's exciting too. Like I get excited to get on and to meet new people and to connect with different people and also solve people's problems. There's an aspect of like, man, there's something somebody needs to get from point A to point B and I can help provide that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It makes me excited too, like thinking about how early this is. and I feel somewhat similar where like I started this podcast in April last year when I first published my first episode. And I was also at like 500 followers. I'm approaching 4,000, just like you, just under that. Just by posting regularly on LinkedIn and then having conversations with experts in their field. I have learned so much, and then also by proxy, I've been able to become like somewhat of an authority figure on certain topics. Mostly just posts about Taco Bell. Those seem to be my niche. But
that's your niche, man.
Yeah,
you're the foremost expert of Taco Bell.
Yeah, and I do champion that. I adopt that, and I appreciate that. And collab coming soon, hopefully.
Oh, nice, right?
No,
partnership.
I've messaged a dozen people on LinkedIn that they work in marketing at Taco Bell. No one's responded.
No,
yeah,
like it's okay. I'm not big enough net.
Yeah,
but one day they'll be coming to me.
Yeah, but I mean, like the traction that you're able to get in just a year of being like the loser, the newbie, the nothing in the space. If we're able to achieve even this little amount, like it does make me excited about like what is Ghostcoded going to be at the end of this year or next year?
Yep.
Will Ghostcoded be a thing, or will it have evolved into something else? Those kind of thoughts and conversations make me excited, and it's really motivating for me at least to keep going. Just a little bit of success now just makes me excited for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. It's like, and it all comes with that consistency. Like you just said, you post it every single day. You've been same here. I post.
I won't say every day, but often.
Near next to, right?
Yeah.
But it's a factor of consistency where it's almost like, it's going to sound very Alex Ramosi like, but it's like if you just put in the work, it's bound to happen. Like, but it also sounds like, well, it's like, no, but it doesn't work like that for everybody. It's true. There is a science to it, but if you put forth the effort in a consistent manner, and as long as you have a goal in mind and you work towards that goal, then it will kind of come to fruition. Like you're almost guaranteed a success because you're taking so many, like if you cold call 1,000 people, you have a better chance of landing a client if you cold call one, right? It's just like, it's a game. It's a numbers game. And I'll even give an example of how this even happened. Like I said, I didn't come to LinkedIn just by chance. I didn't just say one day, oh, you know what, let's give LinkedIn a chance. Are you familiar with Jackson Larimer? He's a financial coach.
He sounds familiar. I don't think I know him though.
No, you're good. He's a financial coach that connected with me back in 2024. Yeah, kind of like that time where I was starting my agency or a previous agency. Anyways, and he connected with me kind of, obviously he was working to get his own clients. He was seeing if, he was coaching people, and I was a prospect of his, and we chatted, and it didn't work out to be, I was the right fit for him. But I followed up with his account. He was blowing up, like just going nuts. His posts were going viral. His account was growing. And then January 2025, he literally put out a post that said, my doors are closed. He's like, I can't take on any more clients. And I saw that, and I was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, you literally just booked yourself out where you cannot physically take in my clients. And I literally messaged him. I was like, dude, how did you do it? He was like, I posted on LinkedIn. I was like, Instagram. And he's like, dude, literally, I focused on LinkedIn and only LinkedIn. And that's where I've gotten to. And I was like, okay, if it worked for him, it's got to work for me. I mean, like, that's literally what I said. And then I set out to do it. And it was dry for about 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nothing. Right? Didn't get anything. And then June, July, I landed my first client.
I think that's about
And
when we
then,
got connected too, like kind of mid-year
yep,
is when
yeah, it
I
was kind of
started
mid-year.
noticing you.
Yeah, and that's where things kind of started. I started getting, things started picking up, started finding my voice, started finding my groove. And then, I mean, even then, had my first client, things were still kind of far and in between. It wasn't until like August, September, and then the end of the year just went nuts.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so there's a factor of, no, it's not the same for everybody. But if you can push past the point of pain, there is something on the other side. It's just getting past that point. It's like, I mean, 6, 7, 8 months is a lot to kind of, and I didn't have any other source of income. Like it was absolutely insane. And anyways, kind of ramble on that topic there for a second, but it's a game of consistency. It's a game of pushing through pain to find that success. And I'm sure it's the same. You have a similar idea of how that feels. Like you probably didn't get John Cheney, or you weren't noticed by John Cheney by day one.
Mm-hmm.
You had to like fight the pain, get through it to get to that point where you can invite one of the biggest authorities on AI to your podcast.
Yeah, and luckily, like John's just a really good guy.
He is.
John Cheney here in Utah. He was a former, for those new listening to the show, haven't seen the episode. One of the most popular episodes. Former guest from last year, CEO and founder. I believe he's CEO, founder of Gen AI PI, and they teach people about AI and how it can be used in their business. And they consult for companies. They'll have like fractional AI officers that they will contract out to businesses. And he was on the podcast and was an incredible resource. But no, he was not the first guest. The first guest was a buddy from college, and we worked at the same call center. And he bought a business doing like mobile tire change and oil changes. And I'm like, you are the entrepreneur who I know personally and are available. Will you please be a guest on my podcast?
Amazing.
And he came by and shared his story. People liked it. And I'm like, this could go somewhere. And then it turned into, now I get to talk to, people who are doing really cool things. And my interest has moved more towards AI rather than just like general business building, general entrepreneurship. And so that's why I was really interested to talk to you as well. And just a quick caveat before we move to the next thing, like Jackson Larimer, I just pulled him up on LinkedIn. I realized I just got connected with him, I think in the past couple weeks. Yeah. And currently in mid-February 2026, he's at 10,781 followers. So the time when you were referencing early 2025 where he was booked out, I'm just making a guess here, he was probably at like 5,000, 6,000 followers. Like it's not, not 6,000 people, but it's not undoable. Like if you just start posting on LinkedIn, you have something valuable to say. Yes. I'm not going to say easy, but it's 100% achievable for someone to get to those numbers where like you are the marketing for your service just by having a presence on LinkedIn. And that's 100%. It's happening for you, 100% inbound. And I think that's awesome about LinkedIn as a platform.
100%.
Okay, well, I want to move more into N8N, get a little bit more specific there. So if my mom is listening to this, she has no idea. She's a nurse by trade. What is N8N for those not in the industry? What is the platform? What does it do? What can you do with it?
Yeah. So bare bones, it is, like I kind of said at the beginning, I don't know if this was being recorded, but it's an orchestration tool. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, think of it like a grand orchestrator. What that means is it's a platform that you can easily you can easily consume. I don't like using that word because it's very technical, but it's essentially it's a place where all your inbound traffic from your favorite apps like Gmail or Slack or Pinterest, it can all funnel into one place and it can do stuff with that, right? Mm-hmm. So very, very generic example, you get an email in N8N, that email can be read, it can then be processed by an AI, and it can then be responded to by the AI. Mm-hmm. Okay, very simply. So as an N8N at its core is it's an orchestration platform that you can plug in things to receive data, and you can output things to send data to places or to send emails, texts.
Or complete some action based on the data that came in.
So very common tools that maybe you feel a little bit more technical, if you're like marketing or whatever, tools are like Zapier or Make. They're competitors to N8N.
Mm-hmm.
And those, but yeah. So, but at the bare bones, it's an orchestration tool for you to orchestrate various connections with your favorite apps. That's essentially what it is.
And so, what types of businesses make sense to be building automations in general or specifically with N8N?
Any, and I'm not just saying that. I mean, any business that has an operation, you should be using N8N, in my opinion. Because every company has a CRM. No matter what company you are, no matter what industry you're at, you have some sort of place to keep track of your clients, to keep track of your information about your clients. So let's say you want to build the other really nice thing about N8N is it's a great courier of information where you can bring things from point A to point B very efficiently. So if you have a form on your website and right now you're sending it to who knows where and it does who knows what and it's never working, you can easily just route that form to N8N and you can actually see the data that's being passed through. And let's say you're kind of more of an advanced, company, and let's say you're a marketing agency and somebody fills out the information and you can have that information come through. You can then enrich that information using tools like Apollo, Zoom Info, other tools that can basically, it's like, let's say I put in my name, Tanner Woodrum, Ghostcoded is the company. It could then take that information and go send it to using an API or application programmable interface to be able to receive data about me. Like it can get my personal email, it can get my, my LinkedIn URL, and then it can give that to AI. AI can personalize an email and then send me an email at the end of my form response.
And real quick, by enrich, you mean so if someone put in just their name, just their company, yes, but using publicly available tools or like paid tools to publicly available databases, you can fetch the rest of that person or entity's data to then take some action with.
Exactly. Or I mean, if you just want to, like you said, purely public, let's say they go and access my website via this AI. And that way they can see, hey, what does this guy do? So that we can say, hey, Ghostcoded looks like a really cool thing. We can help market it and get it 500 more clients a month or whatever, right? And so every company has some sort of sales. They have some sort of internal processes. It could also be something more simple. Like let's say you're a financial advisor and you have to constantly be punching in the same numbers every single day. What if you want to hook up to Schwab, or you want to hook up to some other, custodian? You want to hook up to some sort of platform that has your data that you want, and then it just does that for you. That's the power of this automation is if you're doing it on a computer, 99% chance it can be automated. And so any business can use automation to their advantage. So, yeah, I mean, and I say that not just by voice, but my clients are from every industry. So I can't even really pinpoint one industry because the common denominator is they have something that's taking too much time, but that's too expensive to keep doing manually. They need something that's going to streamline it. And that's where automation comes in. And that's where N8N specifically comes in.
And so then if your clients are all over the place, I'm sure they have different needs, but is there a common most bang for your buck automation where like across the board, we're implementing this, like easy to do, high value? Is there anything like that you've seen?
Yeah, so definitely on the sales side of things, like that enrichment scheme that I mentioned. Everybody needs sales. Everybody wants sales, and so being able to, like, let's say they have a list of clients that they already have, and they want to go enrich them, or they have a database of maybe they have like a newsletter database, and they want to go get some more information about them, and maybe even find other people in that organization industry to do a drip campaign or a marketing campaign. That's one that a lot of people obviously want to see because that allows for more exposure and more inbound. That, and then there's another one where, with ChatGPT or with Gemini or Claude, you can upload a document and then receive the kind of like talk to the document. In N8N, you can build that exact same functionality in about 5 seconds. And it's really nice for internal tooling. If you don't want, because let me back up for a second. N8N, the really nice key point about it, and it's going to be a little bit more technical for people who are in business, it allows you to own your data. So when you build N8N, versus like a Zapier or Make. Those are SaaS products. So they're software as a service. When you use it, you sign up on their cloud. They own the data. They own the process. Sure, they have it like guarded to where nobody else can see your data, but they still own it. They own the data. You can retrieve it, but they own it. With NAN, they have capabilities to where if you're not technical, you can just get started, and then all the workflows, all the data being passed through is on their server. But with NAN, you can actually own, like they give you the code for free, and you can install it on a separate server where it's yours to own and yours to control. And that's also a really big thing for businesses where it's like, oh, I get to own this, like this is mine. So yeah, 100% yours. Especially in the era of AI, your data is your currency. Your data is your greatest asset.
Yeah.
That's why literally OpenAI or ChatGPT or OpenAI or Claude or Gemini, they will give free tokens to people if you allow them to train off your data, like off your conversations. Like that's how valuable that data is, because the better your model is, the better it can do and perform. With NAN, you can build these tools. So like that, it's called RAG, right? So you can build this platform where you can upload your document and talk with it. So a lot of companies, that's one of the biggest things that they want, is they want to be able to have a 60-page PDF, upload it, and then start talking with it, right? That's one of the, and then it stores it and saves it, so you can always be talking. Or if they have like a chatbot on their website, if they go on, it can be like an FAQ. That's another really big. A lot of people want it, and it's a big bang for your buck. Where they can get on, they can start talking to an actual chat, and they can ask it questions like, hey, if I wanted to return my product, what are your guys' return policies? And boom, you can respond to it. And that same technology can be hooked up to a customer support agent, where if somebody emails, it gets answered by the AI. Or it can also, there's a term called human in the loop. Some business owners are kind of scared of the idea of giving AI total control. And so what it can do is the AI can do all the work, and then it can send it to a human for approval, or for like next steps, or for corrections.
Do you think that's a fair concern right now?
Yes, 100%. Yeah. And especially if you're getting started, you have to train the AI. That's another thing. Like people want to like, I want to get it going. It's like, no, I will never implement something without a human in the loop if you're just getting started, because you have it. We can prompt it the best we can, but you don't know what it's going to respond with, because it's really just, it's AI. Like it's going to respond depending on what the input is. It's going to make this completely separate to, email number 2. It'll have a unique response. And so you need to make sure that it's giving the right information and tailoring it. And so, yeah, human in the loops is a very important aspect whenever you're implementing specifically AI automation, because there's automation where it's very rigid and we determine what the steps are.
Right.
But when you add
it's like
AI,
a complete function, like 2, you add 2, then you add 3, like it's a mathematical formula. Yes. But when you add AI to it, then there's decision making that's outsourced to the model.
Correct. And so, but still, it's very accurate. All those things being said, and going back to one of your original questions of like, what's the biggest misconception of AI? They think that if you just tell it, go buy me groceries, it will know what to do. It is just like if you had a person that was born yesterday coming to you. They have all the capabilities of an adult human, but you say, go buy me groceries, and they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to see what I can do. And they start doing nothing. Or you have to give it instructions as if it was an employee. Like, think of an AI as an employee. You want to just give an employee day one access to your entire computer and say, go be efficient and buy me all these things. You need to give them instructions. You got to give them like standard operating procedures. Like, what do you do in this circumstance? What do you do in that circumstance? What document do you refer to if you have this type of question? That is most of my job, is making sure that we give the AI enough information so that it can do the right kind of thing and give the right kind of results. A lot of people, they want AI, they get sold on this big AI platform by a big company, they pay thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and then nothing comes of it. It's because you're not giving it the right kind of data to access to be properly useful. Yeah.
I mean, like treat this as a new employee coming into the business. It made me think of like, I've had access to corporate cards throughout my career. Never did I get access to those on day one.
No.
I was always given context. I was given onboarding materials. I was trained, and then like weeks or months later, when I was more tenured and understood what was going on within the business, then I had access to a company card, and I could expense things or whatever. But AI as a new employee, you do have to give it that context, because especially when you, I guess in every scenario, not just when you install it on your own device, when you own the model and you own your own data, whether it's that or you're just interacting with ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever other interface, it doesn't have all of the context yet. Do you know of any, or do you think that there are any, because we're talking kind of build versus buy right now. Do you know of any tools where you're already just purchasing maybe a mid-level employee to come in rather than an entry level, they don't know anything? Does that make sense what I'm asking here?
Yeah. Obviously, it ultimately becomes more of like that's where it's basically just an AI SaaS. So like, if you want a financial advisor tool, you could probably look up financial advisor AI, and there's probably already something out there that it has industry knowledge, it has, best use cases, best, etc. But even then, it's not customized to you. You still have to give it the information. Like, let's say you go and hire a top performer at firm number 2, and you're firm number 1. You still have to train that advisor, albeit they're pre-installed with like industry knowledge. You still have to give it context of how your operations work and how you do things, how you want things to be done. You don't want it to be done how it was over in firm number 2. You want it to be done your way, right? And even with NAN, like, I mean, I sell pre-made agents all the time. If you go on my website, you can look at several different pre-done agents, and it's the fact that the idea is already there, the proof of concept is already there. Like, I've done it, I've built it, it exists. But then there's still the level of, okay, we got to get your data in there. We have to get, how you want it to specifically be done, etc., for it to truly perform how they would want it to perform.
Yeah. So would you say that, is it fair to say that as of now, mid-February 2026, there is no truly plug and play, immediately successful AI tool where it would just like, we've been talking about financial advising a lot. Like, you could just hire this, pay for this AI tool to come in as a new financial advisor. Whether it's that industry specifically or other industries, would it be fair to say that there's no plug and play, like mid-level employee equivalent of an AI tool right now?
No, not at all. Are you familiar with OpenClaw?
I plan on bringing up OpenClaw, later in the episode. Yeah, let's get into it.
So you saw
not everyone does. So like, if you could explain what it is,
yeah, OpenClaw essentially is it basically is like an NAN version of AI agents, where you can install it on your computer or on like a Mac Studio or some server. It's essentially just a server. The server is computer is a server. Server just means it's not on, like, not your computer, it's not your like laptop. It's just a computer in the cloud, right, somewhere else. So you can install this agent on it, and then it can perform autonomous tasks where you can give it, your bank account, you can give it your card, you can go make purchases, you can go write emails, you can write texts, all those different things. Yes, that is pre-installed. That is already ready to go, rock and roll. You can get going with it. That's terrifying, because it's like bringing in a toddler, or again, a human, but with the brain of a toddler, like an adult with the brain of a toddler, and saying, go buy things. Like, sure, they know how to do it, but do you want it? Like, do you give it a budget? Like, sometimes people just say, oh, it's just going to know what to do. It's like, no, what if it just goes buys a $5,000 ring when you were fine and you were actually wanting like a $30 one off of Amazon, right? Those are things you have to kind of teach and train, even if it's a pre-installed one or a capable one of doing anything you want it to do. You have to still give it information and teach it your personal preferences or your business's preferences.
Yeah. Well, on the note of OpenClaw, like, just going back to like the social media thing, where like we both kind of got started last year as far as like posting regularly online. You could say we were late to social media. We're not some influencer from the 2010s.
No.
And thinking about OpenClaw, I'm like, oh man, I'm so behind on OpenClaw. I haven't set one up yet. Like, I know it's been around since last year, but it's been popular. The public has known about it for like 3 weeks. And I'm like, oh, I'm so behind on this thing that's only been publicly known for 3 weeks.
Yeah, right.
So just a note to everybody, like if you think you're behind, if you think it's too late, like we are still early in the wave of AI adoption.
Insanely early. And here, really quick, for the listeners and for you, for the purpose of the conversation, because I have a lot of young entrepreneurs and people who want to get in my space. They always ask me, like, am I too late? Like, is it even worth me getting into this? And I literally respond with this every single time. And a lot of you probably don't know this, but I also dabbled in the realm of website building, right? If you know, if it's a lot of people, when they think dev agency, they think websites. If they think anything technology, if they think like programming, websites, right? So I sold websites. I tried selling websites. There is still a market where people, businesses who make lots of money every year, they don't have a website. So the reason I bring it up, websites as a technology have been around since 1990. It has been almost 30 plus years, and some people as a business standard don't even have it. They still pay companies thousands of dollars to build them a website. AI really started picking up, like truly, like ChatGPT obviously came out like 2022, 2023, and it was popular, but like the steam and like the high gear really was last summer, honestly. Like that's when the battle between Gemini and OpenAI came. This year we saw Claude going for the jugular to OpenAI. Like things are really picking up. They really didn't start picking up until last summer. NAN, it really picked up. It was very popular last year, and it picked up speed in the summer. Like, and so, but these are brand new technologies. People, they're all scared. Like there is an infinite number of businesses that these things need to be implemented of, and they need somebody to help them. There will always be a need for these kind of things. And so, like you're saying, if you feel behind with OpenClaw, one, that's actually probably a good thing. You never want to be an early beta tester of something like that.
I decided I'm going to wait like a couple months. Like, you know what, new Mac Minis are coming out this year anyway. Like I'll wait till the more powerful Mac Mini, and then they can work out the security issues, and then I'll get started with it. Like
exactly. Like,
I'm not an engineer. I shouldn't be the one test driving whether or not my API keys are publicly available.
Exactly. Or your bank account or your credit card being put out online. Like, no, yeah. So, it's never too late. Like if you feel like you're falling behind, don't feel that way. Just start somewhere. A lot of times people are like, oh, it's too far. Won't even start because I've already failed. It's like, dude, just start with one thing. Like with NAN, a lot of people are like, oh, can you give me like this really cool workflow template that I can start with? I'm like, that's great. Like a lot of people are like, where do I start? And I'm like, don't go and look up this super complex thing from Nate Herc or this super complex thing from YouTube that you downloaded, and it's like, oh, this thing will automate everything. You install it, and you're like, what am I even looking at?
Yeah.
But I tell people, seriously, I coach people, and I teach courses on this. I'm like, what I would do, go and find something that you're doing every day and automate that. Start there. Just automate your own life. I don't know if you saw I just posted today. My wife, she has her recipes everywhere, like PDFs, pages, screenshots, pictures. And so she's always like, where do I find this thing? And obviously there's apps out there where you can kind of standardize this. But one, you don't want to pay for it. Two, it may not be how you want it. Three, it's not AI powered. And if it is, it's probably like a hefty subscription premium to have. And I was like, you know what? I'll just build it for you. It took me 15 minutes. She can now upload all of her images, PDFs, take a picture of things, put it into this database, and she can now talk with it via chat. She can be like, hey, can you find me my cupcake recipe? And it will return to her a cupcake recipe. And it's not a complex workflow. But I did it in like 15 minutes. And so, but like, that's what I would have started with. And that's what I did start with. I was like, what do I do? And I like in my business, I automated my entire business. Like my newsletter, 100% built on NAN. I don't use Kit. I don't use anything like that. Signups, whenever people go to sign up for like one of my courses or whatever, NAN, it has a form. You can build a form in literally a second. With my Stripe payments, like if I want to notify somebody, that's all done with NAN. Like if I have a need, if I have a pain, then I automate it. People like to automate things that don't exist, like I said at the beginning, or pains that they don't have yet. You're just going to get confused because you don't understand the pain. Understand the pain, then automate. And then that's how you learn, because there's a purpose to learn.
Yeah, I think that's really cool, because one of the questions I was considering asking, but didn't include in the final draft of questions for this episode was like, are there any personal applications for N8N? But then I thought, like, people who are going to be interested in N8N are going to be in the business world, not necessarily wives in the kitchen. But I guess I'm dumb.
No way.
Proven wrong on that.
No, I think when you say personal, like an executive, right? A C-suite exec, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he doesn't want it, or maybe he can't. Maybe it doesn't make sense to implement it company-wide.
Mm-hmm.
But he wants to make himself more efficient, or he wants to improve his presence on LinkedIn or on Instagram or whatever, or he or her, them, whoever they are, if they want to improve their personal productivity, N8N is the tool for that. Like if you're sitting there like, oh man, I've built personal assistants where you can schedule time with, like, you can be like, hey, can you book me time with John tomorrow at 3 p.m.? We're going to go out to lunch for about an hour on your calendar, on their calendar, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
With N8N, like, it's done. You can say, hey, what do I have going on tomorrow at 3? It tells you, okay, cool. Can you book it? Or hey, can you move this? Or hey, can you do, like, personal assistance? You can do it with N8N,
mm-hmm.
right? So although it's not really like, but those things are technically personal. Just anything that makes your life more efficient, I think, is really powerful, right? Yeah. Or if, like I said, if they want to automate, they have all these ideas, they can have access to this tool where they can streamline what they're doing and how to make themselves more efficient just overall.
Well, we talked about N8N and AI, and I want to zero in on like more AI more generally for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I saw recently that you talked about how you think ChatGPT's kind of fallen off.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
I personally believe that their brand has gone down a path that isn't and won't resonate with people in a good way. I believe a lot of the products that they're producing are missing the mark on what they originally set out to do. And companies like Claude and Gemini are picking up the slack and picking up what it was originally, like I said, designed to do. To kind of hit it on the head, like the first thing that I saw that really signified the downfall, in my opinion, was when they started talking about producing erotica content, right?
Oh, yeah.
Allowing people to have a subscription and generate that content, why not for personal beliefs, religious beliefs, whatever you want to call it. I think that's not a very good use of AI, in my opinion. I don't think that's contributing to the betterment of humanity. I don't think it's contributing to the betterment of society. That's a personal opinion. So when I saw that, I was already kind of like, oof, I don't know. And then, then you can see that they're starting to dabble in things that you're like, you guys are way in the negative, billions, trillions of dollars in the negative on a yearly basis. So on a business perspective, what I see is they're grasping at straws, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. They're trying to find anything to stick to help produce the money to give an ROI on their investors, that these very powerful investors. They have to start producing something, so they're grasping at straws. They're making headphones. Like, okay, cool. But why would that be? If your flagship product is, like, I get you can branch, but I'm starting to see these signals. And then how Sam Altman testified and said that he would never, the moment they did, he literally has an interview. He said, the moment we do ads, that's gonna be like a last minute, like a last resort. Lo and behold, they're introducing ads. And that's when, like, literally the beginning of the year, when I saw that, that's when I made that post where I was like, they will become irrelevant by the end of 2026.
I don't know if you saw, but the minimum ad spend that you have to commit it was either $100,000 or $200,000, which means like they're not letting mom and pops run ads.
No.
That's exclusively catering to larger corporations.
Why? Because they don't have money. Mm-hmm. They're not profitable. So literally, like you just said, it's honestly, they're not doing this to help anybody. They're like, if you look at the why behind you produce a product, there always needs to be value to whoever, either value to the company or value to the consumer. And the best case is whenever it's value to the consumer, because then it's value for the consumer and for the company.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's value just for the company, it's not going to stick. Like you just said, the threshold is 100,000 or something in that realm. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so this is literally going to be enterprise. Okay.
Yeah.
But why? Because it doesn't make sense for them to have anything less because they need the money.
Mm-hmm.
And so, whereas you have like people like, and so people like, literally, I had people calling me like, oh, you'll be irrelevant by the end of 2026. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's like, okay, what did Claude just do over the Super Bowl season? What did Claude do? What did Anthropic do? They went for they went for the jugular.
Mm-hmm.
Like they see this too. They see that they're slipping. And so they position themselves to become the end all be all chat app.
Mm-hmm.
They literally did that. That's why they pushed so hard on the Super Bowl ads. They saw that they're slipping and it was their time to kind of go in. They have Claude Go, they have Claude Code. That's really popping off right now.
Yeah.
Their models are always outperforming other models. So if you're saying, oh, this little old NAN influencer dude who only has 3,000, I'm like, guys, I'm not just saying this because I'm saying it like I have a personal beef with them. I'm saying on a business perspective, there are signs that this company is failing.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason they're alive is because the big daddy Microsoft is there keeping them alive, or SoftBank, or whatever company. Like the only reason they're alive is because they're getting pumped full of things. And then you have Gemini, or like Google's Gemini is just a side product. They're already profitable. So Gemini is going to succeed because it's not the only product of Gemini or of Google.
Mm-hmm.
Anthropic is going to succeed. They're already profitable. Like they're already profitable, and their business model is in a way where it's going to keep building and growing. So, yeah, so that's why I believe, again, obviously they're like, oh, but it's not going to actually die. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's not going to actually, like BlackBerry's still alive, but they're irrelevant. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? So that's what I mean by irrelevance is if you see what they're doing, they're moving away from their flagship thing, which is AI models, LLMs, and they're starting to grasp for straws to become profitable. So when a business moves away from their their primary goal, yes, they may still be around, but they're going to become irrelevant, just
mm-hmm.
like BlackBerry did in the age of Apple.
Yeah, and I think it's important because I think about like DeepSeek. I never got on the DeepSeek bandwagon.
Mm-hmm.
They did produce a product that produces a similar result as ChatGPT, which was the
mm-hmm.
leader at the time when DeepSeek
mm-hmm.
was released,
mm-hmm.
for 100th the cost.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wrong on that number, but like
no, yeah,
a massive
fraction of the cost of what they say.
A massive like fraction of the cost.
Yeah,
and maybe it's 80% as good. And so I never really got into it and tested it out. But if that last 20% is costing you trillions of dollars of profit that you don't have, like what's the point? And now you have to. I don't know. It just feels like the adult content thing feels kind of slimy. Like what's the purpose?
Yeah.
Like it feels like almost everything in AI has been for the betterment of society.
Mm-hmm.
And those unfamiliar with how it all works may say like, oh, it uses so much water. Like, well, it's recycling the water, like in order to run, like non-issue, not a big deal.
Yeah.
Uses so much electricity. Like, okay, well, we have the sun. We'll figure it out. Like throw up some solar panels.
What does Elon say? Is like, we already have the biggest nuclear fission reactor and it's in the sky and it's for free. So.
Yeah. Like we have, in China, they have so many solar panels that they've produced. They're using them as fences. In like the least efficient position possible. They're like, well, it's cheaper than wood at this point. Like
right.
we can figure out the electricity thing.
Yeah.
And so like the environmental concerns aside, it feels like everything in AI, 99% of it has been for the betterment of society. And then you start introducing adult content, and Grok does this too, accidentally. But then you introduce that, and now the ad-supported model, I don't know. I feel like it's just rubbing people the wrong way. And even before, like ads are not present right now, everybody I know who uses AI to write or for something creative is not using ChatGPT for that. They're using usually Claude from Anthropic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're not using Gemini, but even Gemini, like you used to be able to, you can still generate the images, but ChatGPT came out with image generation. Who's using ChatGPT for that? You go to Gemini because they have the better model for that. So
That's
what
fun.
does ChatGPT have the best version of?
Because I mean, even if you think of a coding, like they released Codex.
Mm-hmm.
Codex performs very well, but they're not known for that. Claude
Mm-hmm.
is known for programming
Yeah.
assistance. So like that's you nailed it. Like, what are they known for? Like, because they abandoned it a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
They abandoned the fight for being the best model, or there's no like they're I think they're starting to tap into some like social stuff, and I'm like, well, go ask Meta how their metaverse went with
Yeah.
how that whole investment thing went. You know, it's like, yeah. But you see that they're starting to just spin out these things that don't match what the consumer needs or wants, and like I said, it's just not for the betterment of
Yeah.
society.
Like the wearable. I do not care at all for that, because especially like I really appreciate being able to talk to ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
That is a feature that I have really enjoyed. I'm like getting ready,
Mm-hmm.
like getting dressed or whatever. I can just have my
Mm-hmm.
phone nearby, and I'm like prepping for this, just asking questions back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always buggy. Like it'll work well for maybe a minute or two,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's super buggy, and it's like forgetting
Mm-hmm.
context from a conversation we
Mm-hmm.
had a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like the responses that it's giving me, that the voice like cuts off and it starts to give a response it's already given me. Like, it's no longer worth using. So why in the
Mm-hmm.
world would I want a wearable to just have that poor experience even further into my eardrums? What's the point?
Mm-hmm. and honestly, it's probably just a grasp to consume data, in my
Hmm.
opinion. They just want the data.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the phone already consumes everything that we do, but if they have it in your AirPods, and as an AirPod, it's like it can now, my opinion, it can farm even more data.
Yeah.
Like,
They get some sales, they get a little bit of revenue there, they get even more data off of us. And
mm-hmm.
it's it'll be assumed in the terms and conditions, like, oh, if you bought this, then you agree to everything that we're pushing here.
Yeah. Yep. You put it in your ear, you agree to it. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so not a fan. I feel like they had first mover advantage. They fumbled it, and I
Yep.
feel like Microsoft is going to eat a big loss on that one,
Yep.
as a major funder of OpenAI.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we're talking about all these things relative to AI. What are your sources for getting AI news? Where do you hear about the latest and greatest or worst?
LinkedIn is a good source for me. Trying to think of some of the people that I follow, but if I can pull it up, there's a couple of people that I follow to kind of source that. Oh man, I'm trying to think. I can look it up if you want, but LinkedIn, I follow a handful of accounts that kind of keep me up to date with that. And then just Hacker News. If you look up any, you know, news sites with AI with tech relevance, there'll be a good spot for that.
Mm-hmm.
I have built in the past. I don't really use it much because, again, not really much of a use case at the moment because I have other ways. But you can build an AI bot to go find that information for you.
Yeah.
and then send it to your inbox. I know Jackson Oaks, he has I think a daily newsletter that he did that he kind of like compiles the latest AI news and sends it to your inbox. But
Yeah.
I think just following the right accounts on LinkedIn, because that's where you also get to see. Because there's one thing about having news, and then there's another thing to have trends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like OpenClaw, I found out of it because everybody was posting, oh, I got this Mac Mini, and now I'm doing this. I'm like, what is this OpenClaw? Then I
Yeah.
went and looked up the news. So like if you're on Instagram, Twitter or X, LinkedIn, YouTube, just follow prominent accounts, and you'll find the news that way.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go the other way because the news sometimes just gets it so wrong because they're not all technical. But if you follow the right creators, they'll produce a YouTube video, and you're like, "What's this OpenClaw thing? Okay, let me look at that. Let's look it up in more detail." You follow me, and I make a post making fun of OpenAI or whatever. And it's like, "Oh, what's going on?" And you can go look at what's going on. So that's where I source is basically from social media. See what the top creators are posting, because if they're posting about it, that means it's important because they want to drive it, right? They want to ride the hype train or the trend train. So if they're posting about it, it's significant. If it's significant, you can go look it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I did there, like you got to have a curated feed on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I still accept 95% or more of connection requests.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I have tried to follow accounts so I've asked AI, and I think it was ChatGPT at the time, but like, what are the top 20 voices or creators on LinkedIn talking about AI? And I just like followed all of those people.
I was definitely on there, right?
Yeah, I think you might have been 21, so you didn't make the list at that time. Yeah, and that was helpful for me.
Yeah.
But who do you see as like a leader in the, like, we'll get a little more niche here, a leader in the automation space? You've talked about a couple already, but who would you say the leaders there?
Nate Herc, or sometimes Herkelman. He goes by both. He was kind of the champion of NAN. I say was because actually, if you see my content, I recently posted how he kind of is stepping down from that because he's trying to kind of champion Claude Code more. And he was open about it from the beginning. Like his biggest MO is automation. And Claude Code, and he even openly says that Claude Code and NAN are two completely separate tools. They're not in competition of each other. They both fulfill a very vital role in automation. But yeah, he's just a good resource in general. So Nate Herc, and then Max TKACZ Tax.
The Ukrainian guy.
The Ukrainian guy. He is the original flowgrammer, meaning like he's kind of the face and voice of NAN, but also just automation. He's a really, really good resource to follow. Let's see if I can pull up my feed. There's one guy that I recently followed that is always posting some seriously good. John Chaney, obviously. John Chaney's a good guy to follow. Man, where is this guy? Because he's like more like news based. Like he has a newsletter. I just can't remember his name. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it really fast. I think I saved one of his things. Okay. Yeah. Again, he's from Lithuania, but Linus, so Linas, and then Beliunas. So the headline is building a safer internet with AI. He is always producing top tier news articles. So like recently, like 9 hours ago, he broke the news on Sam Altman and OpenAI just hired the creator of OpenClaw. So they just hired OpenClaw's founder to come build personal agents within ChatGPT. So, anyways, talks about that. So there's a lot of really good things that he produces in terms of content. Honestly, he's probably one of the most valuable ones. He has 500,000 plus followers.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
He's it's a lot, especially on LinkedIn. You don't see those kind of numbers on LinkedIn often, but he's a really good source. I would say he's probably the best source for like news. So,
well, I've got I'll be sure to follow. I don't think I'm following any of them already, but I'll be sure to follow all of them because I'm trying to stay up to date on everything. But I do have a question. I know you're a dad. I'm also a dad, and so think about your children, and I'm sure you already have in this way. But let's say your children turn 18, and they're considering 3 paths. And in this imaginary world, they just turned 18 right now. Not 18 in the future, but they just turned 18 right now.
Just turned 18, yeah.
They're considering one of these 3 things. They're going to go to college to get a degree in something hopefully useful. Go to a trade school and begin working and earning money already as like an electrician, welder, plumber, something like that. Or number 3, just none of those and just do everything they can to learn about AI. Which one would you push them towards?
Obviously AI.
It's making no money right now. Like, it's not a career that they're getting into.
No. I would definitely say AI because of my background in it. If you can learn AI and learn the simple things, you can then, like I say, go to any business and help them implement it. And it's such a space that's moving so fast. If you if they were to start out, I would say, hey, go target this one niche of clients. Like if you like, I went the broad route. I went the route of social selling, and so I intentionally didn't niche down to a specific area because I saw how broad it could be. But if I were to just tell them to go start, get your feet wet, go find some electrician companies that obviously do not have AI implemented, and go say, hey, I can automate this thing, right? And I would just get started with that because it's a hot topic, so it's heavily demanded. Two, it's not going anywhere. It's like the new website, new internet. It's not a fad. It's not a trend that's just gonna die out in a year or two. Like governments are investing in this technology. They're not gonna let it die. It's not, and not that it's even a possibility of it's dying, but it is now here to stay. It's not going anywhere. So this is the newest. This is like the programming of the olden days. Like I would get this because it's reliable and it's stable. And if you learn these things now, I believe you can also protect yourself and learn how it works so that you can make smart choices with things moving forward, right? To give just a slight jab, I think college degrees are, in my personal opinion, highly, I'm pretty open about it on LinkedIn. I don't think they hold much value these days. I think the most valuable thing college offers is the social aspect, as well as kind of not anymore, but still holds some relevance when it comes to networking, right? A lot of conversations of mine start off with saying, hey, I went to BYU, you went to BYU too. But that doesn't happen too much these days, honestly. A lot of times they're just some random person from Florida, New York, Montana, Wisconsin, whoever they may be, and they just connect with me, right? So I would say if you want to get a social network, I would say get serious on LinkedIn. And so I just think the amount you put into it, there's not much value coming out these days. And so I would rather you just go learn a skill. So first place AI, second place trade school. Like if they want to work with hands and they don't like technology, I would say go to trade school. That was a long-winded answer to your question, but I would say
I was going to ask about the other two as well. Why not those ones?
So I'll kind of so college again, like I said, I mean I went down the route. I mean I was 18 credits from graduating. I could have just pushed through and got the piece of paper. Like I could have, if I really wanted to, I could have. But I didn't see the value anymore, and I was going down the route of becoming a doctor, right? So becoming a doctor, becoming a dentist, becoming a health profession, you kind of, in my opinion, I still think in the perfect world we should go back to mentorships, like apprentices. I think that's the best, because you spend 15 years of your life learning something that's probably outdated these days.
Yeah.
Like in my personal opinion, you spend 15, why don't you just go like a welder does, go learn what the technologies they're using at that moment, help in the way you can, and then they set you free, and then you just learn as the industry progresses. Like doctors are coming out now and they're screwed because they're having to learn all these, I mean, even in the medical industry, all these peptides. Like, I don't want to get on that topic, but like these peptide things that are really a big hit these days, or like how AI, telehealth or AI is being implemented. Like they have no clue what they're doing. They don't know how to make it like work. In my personal opinion, the best case scenario is if everything was more like a trade school, like more, because the funny thing that I think is hilarious about, sorry, I'm going down the doctor path because I was going down the doctor path, is like I learn about biology and physics and it's great, but my brain is like, that is a bunch of not very useful or practical information. I left that class, and even if I went down the doctor route, would never use it in practical application. Like, and if I did have to use something on that granular level, I would probably look it up.
Yeah.
Or I would probably use some sort of formula that is built in a system to do it. I think there's value as, like, if that's your passion to learn it, I believe it's good to go do those things. But in my opinion, it's not a practical use of your time or money. And I think there'd be better doctors, better dentists, better whatever in the health industry if it was more of an apprentice trade school-esque kind of thing, where you go learn hands-on what people are facing, how to help people, and learn just what is actually relevant than a lot of theory and all these other things to where it's like, I don't know. And so trade school, honestly, I have nothing against trade school. I think if you aren't going to go into AI or in some sort of tech, I would do trade school.
Do you have any concerns about trades being automated with AI and robotics advancements?
No.
You don't think so?
Robotics, maybe. I mean, like, let's be honest. Like, would you feel comfortable? There's two samples in this test, but like, would you feel comfortable with going to a doctor or dentist that's a robot, right? Maybe it's a yes. In my opinion, I think there's gonna be there's gonna be a big societal pushback, even like a plumber. I would still probably want somebody who's not a robot to come in and fix it. And I think so in my opinion, no. I don't think that there'd be a concern for that. I mean, I'm thinking it's like welding, sure. I still think, like, if anything, it's going to be more valuable because you're going to have humans to supervise or to train or to help develop those kind of things. So I would think it's just as worrisome as a welder or plumber to have your job replaced as it is. I mean, it's not as worrisome as like a customer support agent that's going to get replaced. Like, right. That is 100% automated, but companies are backing out of doing that because people don't want to talk to a robot, or it's not reliable, or it takes a lot of time to like get it custom and perfect.
But 5 years from now, like, it's going to be better than a lot of customer service people you already talked to.
It is. And that's true. That is true. So I would say I'm on the fence of that, because I mean, even Elon Musk, I saw a clip where he thinks doctors are going to be replaced by robots in the next 5 years. He's bullish on that.
I would say Elon's not good with timelines.
I was just about to say, but then again, he promised automated car driving 7 years ago, and we're still kind of working on that.
Yeah, the man's innovative, but I think he's about as good with timelines as I am. Anytime I'm like out with friends or like working on a project, my wife texts me like, "Hey, when are you going to be home?" Or "When are you going to be done with that?" I'm like, "Oh, 3 o'clock."
3 o'clock.
3:50 rolls around. "Hey, almost done." Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Elon and I are similar in that way.
Yep.
Yeah. Just curious on your thoughts there, because I also have kids and I work in tech. I am interested in tech. I'm running this podcast. I would also, depending on, depends on the kid, but I would probably either push them towards trade school or, hey, learn everything you can about AI, especially as an 18-year-old with hopefully low expenses and, low risk to spending your time on something. Like, you should just develop a very valuable skill and knowledge base, in my opinion.
And I would say I'm on the philosophy of, like, again, I don't have anything inherently wrong or anything against college or a degree or higher education. I just think it became such a, if you don't get a degree, you are worthless and you're not going to be successful. That's what it has evolved into, right? It's like the only way to find success is getting that degree, climb that corporate ladder, getting a secure job. I believe in, so like if it was today, AI, well, like you said, it kind of depends on what the kid's interested in, right? I don't think it's also like, oh, because it's the big fad, you have to do it. But like, if you're asking me today, what would be the most valuable use of your time? I would say AI, or a profession in a trade of some sort, because they're reliable and it's what is needed as I can produce value right out of the get-go. And when you do those kind of things, you also learn, in my opinion, how to learn better. Because in school, you were in school, I was in school, I've got 2 degrees, associates, bachelor's, and a master's. You put it in your brain and you regurgitate it. You're not retaining it for a retaining purpose. If you're welding, if you're doing a plumbing, you're learning that so that when somebody's pipe is busted and it's gushing water and it's flooding their basement, you got to go fix it. And so you're not just going to memorize it to say, okay, what was the textbook answer? It is, there's a practical application to this. I'm going to go practically apply what I was going to do. Almost like when I'm going to learn something that doesn't need to be learned unless it's like an applicable skill.
Yeah. Like if, I don't know, my wife and I have talked a lot about what we'd push our kids towards. And I think that my answer, even 2 years ago, would have been different than today. Like I would still, at that time, I think a college degree 2 years ago, especially, is valuable to most people. There's certain unemployable types where it's like, you should really be an entrepreneur because you're not going to want to follow directions from anybody.
No.
So just go figure that path out. And I feel like I'm in that group, but also, you know, like we're just talking, I have a day job. And do the podcast more on the side. But, you know, fast forward to today, and then by the time our children are actually 18, I don't think I'm going to be pushing a college degree. Like the reason I got my MBA, like I started the program before AI was very popular, before it's very capable. It was still very much in the like, oh, this is cool, but it hallucinates half the time stage. So not that useful at that point. And my reason for getting an MBA was I want to have a solid gold backup plan. I still feel like I'm an entrepreneur, and that's you know what I want to be doing long term is like work more for myself. But I have a family to provide for, and so I do want a great backup plan in case a business fails or something like that. It'd be easier to go get a job. But these days, I don't know that is as valuable. You know, just 2 years later. And then, you know, in 18 years, like, is that really something that I would suggest to my children? Go get thousands of dollars of debt or I pay for it. I doubt I'm going to be pushing a college degree very hard.
No. And even the security that it once was, you see people getting laid off every day. And then what are they stuck with? They're stuck. And then I literally saw a post from a guy who's been out of a job for 2.5 years, and he has posted the same post for 3 months every single day looking for a job. Like that was his thing. It was like urgent, looking for a job, explains his story, and he's posted every single day, highly qualified. But it's like these companies, it's not as secure as it used to be. Like you said, like just because you have a degree doesn't mean you're safe. And so if you rely too heavily on that, what happens when somebody lets you go and you can't find a job? Then it's hard for you to kind of assimilate. And so, and for my kids, I'm like, I would want them to teach them to the value is, and people do this in jobs. And that's what makes people good workers is find a way to become irreplaceable. Find a way, learn how to provide value instead of just filling a role.
Yeah. And
so that's why I wouldn't push, because I feel like with college, especially nowadays, it's just teaching people to fill a role. And I know there's edge cases, there's use cases, there's good programs, there's good professors. It's all
for sure.
Like in a general statement, they're producing people to fill roles, and that's not what we need. We need people to be innovative. We need people to think on their own. We need people to get out there and provide value for the betterment of society.
Yeah, I would say good workers and entrepreneurs as well. You need to have the combination of knowledge, skills, so knowledge applied, and then execution. And so like I would call that like the quality of your skills, I guess. But with a degree, you're only getting knowledge as far as you retain it. You're really not getting much. Like you're getting no valuable execution skills because you've never had a job and how to do anything. You're maybe getting some like knowledge applied skills if you like, depending on what problems you worked through or what projects you did. Yeah. And so a degree used to be the thing, but 18 years from now, you know, I've got an 8-month-old son. Like when he turns 18 in 18 years, we'll see, but it's probably not a degree that I'm going to push him towards.
No, absolutely not.
College was fun, but
it was
outside of that, like, I don't know if it's that valuable.
No, you can go live on college campus and not be in college and go experience everything just the same.
Yeah.
But be running your own thing or learning your own thing.
Yeah. Well, as far as like more AI and automation stuff, if people want to get in contact with you, if they're interested in hiring you or just learning from you, where can they reach you?
You can look me up on LinkedIn, Tanner Woodrum, or you can go to my website, ghostcoded.com, and we can get connected from any one of those places.
Perfect. And do you have an ideal client that we should shout out right now?
Again, anybody who wants to scale, doesn't have the money to scale, who wants to kind of grow, but not in terms of increasing headcount, or if you have a task that is repeatable and mundane and losing you money that can be automated, that you think can be automated or streamlined, and just somebody who has a pain that thinks it can be solved by AI, or
as
wants
long
to
as
see if
it
it can be solved
exists already, right?
If it already exists, it needs to exist.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I'll have your socials and your website in the description here.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for coming on, Tanner.
Absolutely, it was great being on here, man.
Yeah, I'll see you.